Hi everyone, we're with Carol Ingram, who is going to be doing a workshop here at Wesleyan Potters on creating felted hats. These are some of the hats that she does, and her workshop is coming up on March the 17th. It starts March 17th, and so we're going to talk a little bit today about how Carol got into felting and what the class is going to be about and what the students are going to do. So, Carol, what made you start felting? What interests you about felting?
Well, I had been a potter for many, many years and was still doing a little bit of pottery. And vessels was the thing I liked to do most. And I was in Amherst, Massachusetts at the Fiber Arts Center, which is now no longer. And there were some felted vessels there. And I was immediately drawn to them and asked the woman what they were and how I could learn. And I started taking classes from Christine White, who is a master felt maker in Massachusetts, and I just got hooked on the color, the form, textiles. Just I loved everything about it.
And I think we can see your felted vessels online, right?
I don't have a website, but if you Google me, I am part of the Northeast Felters Guild, and I do have pieces there.
Okay, well, we'll put a link to that in the blog post. So I noticed that you have some really beautiful materials with you today. We've got some wool roving, right?
Yes.
And you have laid some out in front of you. And you also brought some other tools here with you that we're going to be using in the class. Why don't you give us a really quick little rundown about how the process works?
Okay, well, we're going to be starting with a resist, a plastic resist. We're going to measure everyone's head so that we get the right size resist for each person's head. We're going to talk about what kind of hat would be best suited for a particular face type. And then once we make the resist, we're going to use approximately 3 ounces of wool, and we're going to do about 6 layers perpendicular to each other on each side. And we're going to lay out the wool in these layers, and then we're going to wet the wool, and we're going to fold the wool over to make a seamless piece around the resist. And then once we get all the wool covering it on both sides, we're going to wet it with warm soapy water, and we're going to begin the felting process.
So that looks really big. It's much bigger than a head, and it's certainly much bigger than these hats. Does that shrink down?
Right. So what we're going to calculate is about 40% shrinkage, and we're going to use that mathematical percentage to calculate the size of our resist.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Good, because
And
I know my head's not that big.
There's a lot of flexibility. People will lay out thinner or heavier. We're going to start with a set amount of wool so we have an idea, and we'll shrink it down till it is around the size of your head. And they're going to work on some hat molds to further the shaping and to let the hat dry on the mold, which will keep its shape.
Now, it looks like these hats have fabric in them. Is that what's in there?
Yes. We will be decorating the hats using different sheer fabrics. Silk is a great fabric. Any kind of fabric, actually, that you can put your mouth to blow and feel the air come out on the other side, because the wool will migrate through the weave of the fabric. So these have fabrics in them around the band, different kinds of silks. And this hat has a fabric band that's later added and sewed on, and we'll talk about that. And then we're also going to be making on the second day little felted embellishments, so that if people want to sew on little flowers or bands, they can, to embellish their hat. There'll also be some yarns that you can do decoration with too. So we'll talk a lot about that.
Wow, that's really unique. So you've talked to us a little bit about the process that the students are going to go through, And so when they are done with the class, are they going to come up with a hat or two, or how is that going to work?
They'll all have a finished hat with embellishment. They'll learn a lot about different finishing techniques. They may have time to start another and finish it at home, but for sure they'll have a hat.
That's really great. So again, this is Carol Ingram, and her felted hat seminar is here at Wesleyan Potters, and it starts on Saturday, March the 17th. Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.